Daniolis, and he is going to do something awesome today because he is helping to raise money for Josh from Cooking Cop and Babe. You can also go today to their webpage, stronglikejosh.com, if you want to donate there, or you can do super chats here. But George, hi George.
Hello.
George,
say hi to you.
Whichever. George has agreed to do a bite. He's going to put on the rest of his decoy suit here in a few minutes and go and let a dog bite him to raise some money for Josh, which I think is super amazing and awesome. If you guys have any kind of questions that you want to ask George, it would be a great time to do so. You can leave them in the comments. Make sure that you jump onto the super chats and donate some money to the cause, or go over to Strong Like Josh. So I'll start some questions. All right, so George, how dangerous is this? Like being in a decoy suit and having it on, like, can something go wrong?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we're getting bit by dogs. It's going to be dangerous, right? But, you know, we try to do the best we can to keep our decoys safe because they're critical in developing police dogs.
Okay, have you ever had something?
Yes, yeah. I've been punctured through the suit to the point where I needed to get stitched up through a bite suit. I've had all kinds of lacerations through the suit, and then we do a lot of work also outside of the bite suit, and I've had more stitches than I can remember from work like that. So yeah, absolutely, it can be dangerous, but it's a critical skill. Kind of the misconception sometimes is the person in the bite suit is the dummy in the big suit running around and getting attacked by the dog, and it's actually the better your decoys are, the better your dogs are, because there's no one else that can teach a dog how to fight a human other than the decoy. So the better your decoys understand the psychology of the dog and what happens throughout a fight for a dog and their emotional states, the stronger the dogs get and the better they become at fighting people, which we need them to fight with the bad guys sometimes.
For sure. Yeah, I actually took George's decoy seminar just, I don't know, a month or two ago, right? And I thought that it was just, hey, put on a suit, hold your arm out, and get bit. And that is not the situation at all. And I learned that falling to the ground can be kind of dangerous, right?
Sure. Yeah, going level changes always can be dangerous, especially if we're not consistently training the dog to be comfortable on the ground, which is a critical piece because a lot of times when someone's going into your custody with a dog bite, he's got to be on the ground before they can remove the dog. So going to the ground is really important in training.
Scary. It's scary. So what is the suit made out of? Is it heavy? What's it like? Well, do you have a question?
Thank you, Jamie, for a $20 donation.
Thank you, Jamie, for your $20 donation. Josh appreciates it, and I'm sure Babe does too. I forget what I just asked.
Oh, about the weight of the suit, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So there are different weights. The ones we use right now are medium weight. You know, if you had to weigh one, about 35 pounds. You know, we have some lighter weight ones that we use if we're not catching as many dogs. If we're working multiple dogs, we like to have a medium weight suit. We do stay away from anything with too much material or too paddy, something that stops you from moving naturally. We want to have a natural body image when we're moving towards the dog and working the dog. And we don't want the dog to just get a big piece of material in its mouth. We want to make sure that they're feeling the person inside the suit when they bite.
Okay, once the dog grabs onto you, what is your job? Like, as the decoy, what do you want to do?
So it depends, you know, what we're actually working on at that time. So overall, the thing that we think about the most is when we're conditioning bite work, right? There's a lot of things you do in bite work. Some are obedience based, some are drive and power based. When we're conditioning the dog to be more powerful, our main theme, everything we're doing is about making the dog stronger. So we're trying to stress the dog to a point where it overcomes its stress through aggression.
Cool. Do you know about how fast do the dogs, are they 20 miles an hour-ish? Like,
Between 20 to 32, 33 miles per hour, depending on, we have some dogs that are really fast.
yeah, so 20 to 30 miles per hour, 40 pounds, 50 pounds coming at you?
Usually between 60 and 80, around that
60
size.
maybe.
Yeah. A small police dog would be 50 pounds.
Small police dog would be 50 pounds. So George has been in this business for how many years?
I've been in dogs for over 25 years. I've been specifically focused on police dogs for the past 15.
And how many times in that 25 years do you think that you've had stitches?
Ooh. I couldn't tell you, honestly.
Because I think you've had them twice since I've known you.
Yeah. It's more times than I know. I wish I would have kept track. Yeah.
How many, I'm thinking of questions. You guys roll out some questions for me if you have them. How many times before a dog is ready would it typically have to have training like this? Like how many bites would a police dog get before it was sent in the field?
You know, it's not a kind of a quota by the number of bites. It's more behavioral milestones. So when we start to see certain things happening behavior-wise, we know we can progress, and the dog is in a good place to go out and grab a bad guy without some of the crutches that we use when we're developing.
Okay. And speaking of like the dog's mental state, I know we get a lot of emails, like you get a lot of emails that are like, hey, I have a dog that bites, can you make him into a police dog?
Right.
Is that something that you look for, is just, hey, my dog bites?
Well, not only my dog bites, but my dog barks at everybody. My dog shows aggression, and that's actually the opposite of what we look for. So we look for dogs that are really socially outgoing, comfortable around people, not showing any type of defensive aggression. It's rare, you know. I don't know how many calls and emails on a monthly basis about people that think they might have a dog that would be a police dog candidate because it's a German Shepherd or because it's a Belgian Malinois. And it's, let's say I look at 100 of those dogs, maybe one of those dogs might make the cut. It's very rare.
So tell me about the dog that is going to be biting you today.
The dog that's biting us today is out of our breeding program. She's one of our company dogs, but she's a dual certified and trained police dog. So she detects the odor of narcotics, and then she also does patrol. And she is, I believe, Revan is 7 years old, so she's up there in age, but you won't know it from looking at her. And she's not a real big dog, but what she does do is she commits to everything she does with everything she has in her, and that's what we look for. She's very reckless, she's very forward, she's very powerful, all the things that we want to see.
So stable and crazy.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's a perfect description. How are the comments? Questions, guys? No? You want to throw them out? You
No
guys have
questions.
What else do you want to tell us, George? What's important here for us to know? No pressure.
Well, no, I mean, it's important to know that the dogs here are doing this not because we're forcing them to or because we think they should do it. The dogs that we use are genetically prone to do this work. Not doing it is almost a disservice to the dog. When you have dogs that are genetically correct for this, it's the most primal, rewarding behavior they could ever engage in. So when you have a dog with these genetics, not working them in these ways is almost depriving the dog of becoming what it was meant to be. So it's a beautiful thing when you have the right genetics for the right job, just like anything. There's times where we've seen dogs that were not genetically correct for this type of work, and we've tried to, or because of limitations on budget or whatever it might be, the agency has to try to make the dog work, and it's rarely a successful endeavor. Whereas when you have a dog that's genetically correct for this, it is the most fun, primal, rewarding behavior they could ever engage in.
So they do train pets, police, protection dogs, a whole list, any dog, anytime basically here. So George, what makes a police dog not a good pet?
You know,
like, what is the difference between, hi, you're a sweet pet and you're a police dog?
the biggest thing is energy level, I would say. And we have dogs that are, as far as police dogs goes, we look for dogs that are highly possessive of things. They're highly prone to be activated into prey without much inducement. They're a dog that needs to be managed and needs to have their drives channeled. If we're not doing those things, the dogs can become really difficult to live with.
Just want to send a shout out to, obviously, Cooking Cop and Babe. Evan Hodgkins, and Sandy Carrillo, Ivan's mom, chimed in.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining in. Questions?
And Mary Ray.
And Mary Ray.
What up, girl? Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Tia.
Hi, Tia. Thank you guys all for joining in. How far are we into this? Should we get ready to do some biting?
Is it
Weird.
Crystal Ivan on there? Hi,
Yeah,
Crystal.
our Crystal.
Our Crystal. That's one of the trainers from Canine Defense. Crystal, ask George a question. I know she'll have something.
Desert Drug Dog. Howdy.
What's up, Desert
Hi,
Drug
Amy.
Dog?
Hi, Amy.
I'm running out of questions. I need something good to ask him. We're just going to let it.
We're at 11 minutes.
We're at 11 minutes. All right. How about we talk about the show the suit and you want to put it on?
Sure.
I'll grab it. I'm just going to stand here and let George grab the suit and suit up. You can check out the buckles and stuff that go into this thing. They're hooked in.
Crystal wants you to explain the handler's job.
Crystal wants you to explain the handler's job. That's a good one.
Dang it, Crystal.
You gotta wait for him to come back over. So while we're waiting for George to come back over here, I just want to remind you guys that you can go over to, what are you telling me to do? Xavier's like doing this and he's like trying to get me to position up here.
So,
We'll do this first.
the handler's job?
The handler's job. What is the
Handler's job is to safely control the dog and make sure that he ends up biting the right person when we're getting into bite work. Right? And it's a really important job because you're dealing with a dog that has a propensity for violence and can really as drives escalate and there's chaos in the situation. You have to have a very wise handler in order to navigate the dog and put him in the right places and have the opportunity to get the right person.
So what are you doing here? You have clips
Oh
under there?
yes, we're clipping up this jacket somewhat. I've got some injuries to my hands right now, so I'm not able to use them the way I normally would, but we got clipped.
Excellent.
Maddie Lopez wants to know the best food for a German Shepherd.
Best food for a German Shepherd.
So you want to look for foods with good protein sources. Healthiest food for any dog is a raw diet of meat and bones and organs. So you want to look for foods that mimic that. Good protein sources. The food we use here is canine. It is open farm. That's what we use here at Canine Defense. That's a bagged food because we feed multiple dogs. Right. Ideally, a raw diet is ideal for the canine, regardless of breed.
Any more questions? Because we're going to send George over here to get bit.
So Crystal also asked, should someone get one as a pet?
Should someone get a police dog as a pet?
If that's going to be their full-time job, if they're going to dedicate their whole life to the raising and managing of that dog, get one as a pet. If you think you're just going to put it in your house or your backyard and hope it does cool stuff, it will definitely be a recipe for disaster.
Excellent. So just a reminder for everybody, you can go to stronglikejosh.com if you would like to make a donation. You can also do it here in the super chats. Everything from this video is going directly to his fund. And should we get a dog out? Should we ask
Yes.
Connor?
I'll talk a little bit about what these are quickly while Connor's getting the dog. So we use a lot of different objects in order to create stress for the dog. Not because a bad guy might have something like this, but we don't know what might happen. So we just teach the dog to understand that when we send it, to not worry about anything else in the environment except for your target.
Sorry, I'm ready. Oh, is he ready to get bit? Okay, what dog is going to bite him? All right, so George is going over here, and I'm just going to do a little camera turn here. I want to show you the dog. So we have our dog lined up. And I'm just going to keep the camera on George because they are fast. And here we go. handler's calling the dog back. So George, we have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
One is, did that hurt? Yes. Are you gonna have a bruise tomorrow?
Probably.
Are we doing it twice? One more? Should we do one more?
Sure.
All right. One more.
Get a twofer.
You guys get a twofer. All right. Will he let go, George? Without a
Only when the
command?
handler tells her to let go, and you're kind of giving her a little bit of a gender identity crisis.
Sorry.
It's a female.
Sorry, will she let go?
She's so now.
Why
She'll
are
let go
the...
if he tells her to.
I have-
Otherwise, she's gonna stay here. Okay.
Is she trained to bite a certain arm, like a certain area?
No, well, so we present certain areas, but if those areas aren't available, she defaults to another area. So right now I'm presenting the left bicep for training. If I was blocking the left bicep, she'd go to the right. If I was blocking both, she'd go to the leg. Right, so we wouldn't want the dog thinking too much about target areas. We want them to just go. As soon as they start thinking, they slow down, and if they slow down, we lose impact.
Nice.
Wait, she bite.
Revan. House. Lots.
So I have a question about the water bottles. Why do you use the water bottles?
Lots.
So we use all kinds of different distractors to make sure
Gotta bring it in.
we're done with the bites.
Yeah, we're done with the bites. Are you done getting bit?
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, Connor. I missed the last question. Do you still have it on yours?
Why do you hit him with the water bottles?
How long will the dog bite without being told to stop, and why do you hit them with the water bottles? So 2 questions.
Okay. So the dog will bite until it fatigues and can no longer do it anymore, or until the handler tells it to release. We want the dog to be really comfortable staying in one place and biting deeper at every opportunity. However, the dog doesn't move anywhere from its original grip. When the opportunity presents itself, we condition the dog to bite deeper with a full mouth and hold. We use not just water bottles, we use sticks, we use leaves, we use palm fronds, we use just about anything we can think of to help condition the dogs here for how to deal with things that they might get hit with in the real world. So we can't ever show them everything, but what we can develop is a response to stress. When I feel stress, I bite harder, because that's what's going to keep a dog safe in a real world encounter.
So somebody wants to know, is it hurting the dogs?
No.
No.
I mean, we do get to a point where we want to make sure the dogs are comfortable dealing with some pain and biting us harder, but the people that get abused the most are the decoys. Humans end up in a lot worse shape than the dogs do. What we do with the dogs is help them for real world encounters. If we were to get a dog out here and hurt it when it was doing this type of work, it wouldn't want to do it anymore.
That
So we
makes
want
sense.
to develop an illusion of hurt. We want to give a dog a way to deal with stress and then bite harder.
Any other questions, guys? Have you ever ended up in the hospital or ER because of a dog?
Yes, regularly. I've been stitched up by a vet 4 times.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
All right, guys. So, thank you so much, George, for doing this today, and of course to Connor and his dog also. Be sure that you either drop a donation here or go to stronglikejosh.com and leave a donation there. And thank you all so much for joining me.
Josh, keep up the good work.
All right, that's it. Now we have to figure out how to log. Oh, wait. I'm
You
gonna
want to do one more question?
Sure.
Would the dog release if a gun is pointed at their head?
No,
Why?
no. The dog. We don't use the dog to make decisions on when to release. The dog releases when it's told to. It's too dangerous. We've had several dogs shot in the line of duty, and although it's a very sad day, that dog saved multiple human lives, and that's what we're all ultimately doing here. Is we're conditioning dogs to be a really important asset to our law enforcement officers.
Would it know what a gun was? Like, it would have to be taught, right?
Well, we teach neutralization to gunfire because we don't know who's going to be shooting, the good guys or the bad guys. So we don't want the dogs to react to gunfire at all if possible.
Is that it, guys? Any more questions? Nope. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. Make sure that you go to stronglikejosh.com and make a donation. And thanks for joining me. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye. And now you have to watch us figure out how to turn off the live.
Explain how to donate one more time.
I'll explain
Somebody
how to
wants to know.
donate one more time. So you can either leave a super chat right now, so you would just leave a comment and put a donation, or you can go to stronglikejosh.com and I will leave a link as soon as we're done doing this, but you can make a donation directly there. So whatever's easier for you. And yeah, stronglikejosh.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.